for Janik Sinner. Trust me, this guy is far from a beginner. Okay, everybody talks about the explosive firepower off both sides, the forehand and backhand. You've heard all these saying like a slingshot, a ball comes off his racket different. But let's break it down microscopically on his two-handed backhand, and let's talk a little bit about the common threads that he has, like the great ATP backhands. If you watch Sinner, after he does his split steps, like most of the players, the hands, when they go back, the shoulders take the racket back. Okay, the shoulders take the racket back. He has a major league shoulder turn. The shoulder gets under the chin. That gives him a lot of torque and a lot of rotation coming back. But if you notice, for a tall guy, his center of gravity is amazing. He's low to the ground. He's always crouching. The ball's only as low as you make it. Everybody out there, remember that. But Sinner, always remember the power comes from the ground up. That's where that kinetic chain starts, the leg, the hip, the trunk. Then it comes out the limb, okay? It has nothing to do with how loose his arms are. That comes out at the end. But when he takes the racket back, the hands go back along the waist, along the pelvis. Like most of the top players, the right arm becomes straight. The left elbow is bent. The right arm is straight. Left elbow is bent. The hands go back a little lower. His racket head is a little lower on the take back. But one of the common elements of a great shot, the racket head is always above the wrist. When the racket head is above the wrist, from a science point of view, like you've heard me say many times, whether you're hitting a baseball, a golf ball, or a two-handed shot, when the head of the racket is above the wrist, from a science point of view, it's going to go faster. It's going to go faster. The racket will flip down and back, and that's what you see with Sinner. The racket goes all the way back. It stays on the hitting side. Like you heard me talk about 15 years ago, the racket's on the hitting side of the body, okay? And then the stroke, everybody thinks it's a left-handed forehand. Yes and no. You pull with the right arm and you push with the left. It's a pull-push motion, okay? He doesn't pre-roll the racket or bubble loop. Once it's all the way back, he pulls with the right, he pushes with the left, and because the racket head is orientated to the outside, a little bit towards 6:30, if there was that imaginary clock, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, it's to the outside. When he pulls it, the racket head flips down and back, and it hits the slot with a lot of energy. It hits the slot with a lot of energy. Hello? Is this kind of like the ATP forehand? Absolutely. The best of all the rest. This is what they do. They want to maximize power. They're going to have a shorter stroke, okay, but it's going to be faster. And if someone said, hey, I can make your stroke shorter and faster, especially when these missiles are coming on the ATP tour at 70, 80, 90 miles an hour, that's the leader in the clubhouse. But when Sinner hits the ball, low center of gravity, and what I love, he has the daily double. He hugs the baseline. He's in and out like a boxer. He takes the ball right off the bounce. So to put a bow around this, not only does he optimize the stroke, which is shorter, faster, quicker, okay, he's taking the ball off the bounce. So he's dealing the cards. He's running the show. He's the one dictating. He's playing the ball. He's been told or taught to play the ball instead of hitting off the back foot or giving up court position. This is why he's so authoritative. Now, because he's low to the ball, and this is important for a tall guy, okay, he really uses his legs correctly. And you can see the energy come up through the legs, okay, then he rotates into the ball. There's so much energy. A lot of times that back leg, okay, will come through the ball. This is a cause and an effect. It's all situational. Depends on the height of the ball, the speed of the ball, where you're at on the court. So will that hip come around all the time or the back foot all the time? Yes and no. But as a rule of thumb, if you're set and you can step in and you rotate on an axis like Sinner, this will happen. Notice the position of the arms. Right arm straight, left elbow bent, and they actually change positions, as you've heard me say many times. Now the left arm becomes almost straight, and the right arm becomes bent. And the follow-through, once again, is all situational. Some players, depending if they want to hit more spin, the hands might break over the shoulder, end up on the right scapula. Some players won't break their hands. But at the end of the day, this is a world-class stroke. What I love more than anything, and everybody has to understand, this young man has conviction. He has passion. He wants the ball. He wants to run the show. So when he goes out there, he's playing the ball with a great stroke, and that's one of the key elements of why Janik Sinner, the Italian flamethrower, is #1 in the world.